All right, there's the market close from Monday. As you can see, down 458 on the Dow. And it was a lot worse than that before it came back just a little bit before the close. So trade concerns, tech stock fears sparking a sell-off on Wall Street, as you see here. We're going to talk about the concern of a trade war and all this talk about China and the retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. On more than 100 products now after we leveled some tariffs on them for steel and aluminum. Here now to weigh in on that is the chair of the Business and Finance program at the King's College here in New York City, Brian Brenberg. Brian, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Yep.
We talk about, okay, now we've got this fruit and nut and a couple other things. Oh, the pork. The pork was the big one. The frozen pork. We sell a lot of that to China. Now there's a tariff on that, a pretty sizable one that's going to hurt our economy. This is a retaliatory tariff from China. What I can't figure out is it was never an even playing field to begin with. China always had this advantage. We were trying to level the playing field, and then they retaliate.
Yeah. Well, look, yeah, they've had more protectionist measures in place than we have, for sure. But you know that's going to happen. If we're going to raise tariffs, you know they're going to respond. That's just part of the negotiation, Rob. What's interesting here is they didn't go after the biggest products. Okay, if you look at the tariffs they could have levied, if they really wanted to inflict big harm, they would have gone after soybeans, they would have gone after aircraft and aerospace. They didn't do that. They levied only $3 billion in tariffs, which tells me they're not interested in a trade war.
Right.
They want to negotiate with the president, but they're not interested in a trade war, and so they're holding back here to try to create space for a deal. That's the big news.
And maybe they see the fact, and maybe they understand the fact that it's not fair, and that we're just trying to level it off. So we're not going to hit back too hard, but we are going to let it be known that you can't just walk all over us.
Well, the president has their attention. You know, we've talked for years about China's bad trade practices and the need to do something about it. For better or for worse, you've got some cost here, but the president is doing something. He's going after China and saying, we want some change. We're going to put our money where our mouth is. We want a negotiation. But again, what's important to see here is the president is leaving room for a deal. It's clear he doesn't want a trade war. He simply wants China to come to the table and actually get some movement on things like intellectual property, which has eluded us for a very long time.
You know, a lot of people say most people in politics only care about getting reelected. You saw the market drop, almost 700 points at one point yesterday. It tanked yesterday. This is a tough thing to do if you're a politician, because in the short term, you're going to get hit hard. There's going to be a lot of bad news to come from it. Is the president doing something that has needed to be done for a long time, which is correct some of these disparities between us and other countries?
Well, especially on the intellectual property theft, because that truly is today the backbone of our economy, intellectual property. China is an abuser of those properties. We need them to respect it, stop stealing property from the U.S. So the president has decided to go after that. And in the short term, there's going to be some pain because so much of China's economy is built on getting that intellectual property from us. It's interesting he's been willing to deal with that pain because, remember, last year he was touting stock market gains so much. Can't do that this year. But if he can get this negotiation done quickly, then we can get back onto the glide path that tax cuts had us on. So that's the key here, is to be tough, but get the negotiation done so businesses can get back to doing the things they want to do to grow.
Got to take the medicine. Brian, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Good to see you.